Good morning, Matt.
Oh, good morning, Will.
Good morning to all of you.
Welcome to Games for Breakfast, the only internet talk show. We talk about this week's gaming and tech news, but we're also, and I'm sorry to report this, you're welcome, we are living in a post-Wuthering Heights world. That is right, Emerald Fennell's film has come out, and now we're all just living in the world where it exists. I know this is about video games, but don't worry, I'm sure there'll be the video game adaptation of it soon.
Okay.
I went and saw it on Valentine's Day. It is fine.
It is
some things.
a movie.
There'll be Jamie and I did a podcast on it. It'll be out for everybody on next Sunday, but I think I'm going to post it early on Nebula tomorrow.
Okay.
But yeah.
Cool.
Hi everyone. Hello. What would the hey chat? What would the mechanics, if you've read the book or seen the movie, what would the mechanics of the Wuthering Heights video game adaptation be? Like, what genre do you think it would fall? You've read it, right, Will? Back in the day?
Back in a period of time where I don't remember a bunch of the things that I read. So yes, but also no.
Korean dating sim. Press F to angst. Yeah, it would definitely be a dating sim, a rhythm dancing game. Why not? Yeah.
Here we go. I like this one. Haven't seen or read it, so it's obviously going to be a third-person extraction shooter. Yeah.
I will say this. To prep for doing the podcast on it, I went back and listened to our So You Haven't Read episode on Wuthering Heights by our Kevin. And God, I missed that series. I wish there was more. I wish it was financially viable to continue to do that series, because it's so much fun getting to dive into books that, like, everyone has sort of like, we talk about this in games too, right? Like, everyone only has so much leisure time. So it's really fun to dive in and sort of like do a light explainer of a thing that like maybe 80% of everyone in a certain space has done or played or read. And then just try to get the rest of the people who have fallen into that thing. Like I still, we all have those. I'm trying to think. I've talked about them before on here, but there's just blank spots. We can't see or play or watch or read everything. You know,
that's true. That's very, very true.
But I will say this, Will.
Matt, say this. I will say this.
I will say this. Matt said to Will. Matt. I will say that Sony is, not for lack of trying, through literally so much stuff at the wall in the state of play, that I will never have time to engage with it all.
Yeah, I feel like so this is like a moment of adaptation, right? Like, and I think this is a thing that we've sort of danced around and talked about obliquely a couple of times, and I think we may have talked about it explicitly, but this is like a great single example. Even if you love Sony and everything they're doing, it is not going to be possible to play all of the games that come out in 2026 from Sony unless it's your full-time job, and it's almost nobody's full-time job. Right? Like, there are just too many games. Fortunately, they didn't, like, I think one of the things about the state of play that I really appreciated was that they didn't go super narrow. Like, we see
it was a broad stroke of
so,
a ton of different types of games.
Right. So, like, Game Awards, right? Let's go back to the last big trailer show we had, which is Game Awards. Game Awards said this is the year of blood, gore, and horror. They did. They really did, in like 12 different ways. And if you're not a big fan of blood, gore, and horror, you didn't get a lot out of the Game Awards, right? Not nearly as much as the people who are into that, right? And there's nothing wrong with being into that, but if that's not your thing, you felt like the Game Awards didn't have as much to offer for you. But I didn't feel like that with State of Play. I feel like State of Play this time was a broad offering.
So whenever these showcases come out, we tend to think like, oh, this is going to be something that we're going to talk about on the channel. And oftentimes it does feel like, we're as guilty of this as anybody, but there's essentially like what's going to be the thing to talk about in it, right? What's the thing that's wrong? What's the thing that like that would be the interesting thing to sort of pick at nits or even talk about like large problems or something like that. And this time, and again, I'm going to try to really take my full-blown Sony pony kind of veneer off and look at this as you know, clear-headed and fairly as possible. When I sat down to watch the state of play last night, and I kind of did it begrudgingly. I kind of wanted to do other things. You ever done that for work or even a leisure activity that you're just like, I should be in the know of this, right?
I have a secret for that, Matt. And I'll tell all of you the secret too. It's the double speed button.
I know, but I actually like, so that was my plan. My plan was to maybe play Hearthstone in the background and like have this going and like look. I did go sit on my couch and like put it on the projector. And when I did that, after the first Kina trailer, which I was kind of blown away about, we'll talk about that in a little bit. I was like, oh, will this be my full attention for the next hour? And I was shocked that it actually was that. I very rarely have I gone into watching one of these showcases not feeling like watching one of these showcases and then be won over by the showcase. So, well, we're talking about this today, and we'll talk about some a little bit of like silly bad stuff, but mostly I will say good stuff, which is kind of refreshing in this space. When Will and I were talking about this morning, we're like sort of figuring out like what the angle is, where we wanted to like, you know, take the conversation here. And I think the conversation is that this showcase was broad. It did a bunch of really interesting, like both headline grabby, but also like non-destructive things. And I just actually felt pretty good about like the state of this pool of games, which is a rarity these days.
I also think that it does help a bit that neither of us, and I think the general public, are not particularly and specifically annoyed with Sony at this moment. Right? Like, it's very easy when, like, the Overwatch announcement we talked about last week, right? There are plenty of people who, for a variety of reasons, personal, professional, or otherwise, have an like a long-standing and ongoing hatred of Blizzard. Okay, I'm not going to tell those people that they're wrong, right?
Yeah.
But it does cloud their ability to like ingest information about what's going on there, even from like a this is going to affect the industry perspective. And I feel like Sony hasn't done anything truly egregious in like the
I think the last thing I can remember is the needing of Sony accounts to play their games on PC.
Yeah.
I think, to be fair, that was the thing that kind of was the thing people were the most mad about for a while. But yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to sort of diving into some of these games and figuring out what we are excited about and why we enjoy this kind of stuff.
Yeah. A thing that's happening that I love, by the way, is that chat is chiming in and about like the games that they're interested in. And I haven't really seen terribly many duplicates. People are talking about Legacy of Kain. People are talking about Mina. People are talking about the Metal Gear Solid stuff. There was a little bit of something. Right, a little sample spoon of something for just about everyone, I feel like, which is really nice.
And maybe as a last generality, I'll say there felt like look, let's be very clear. Corporation's job is to make money, and that is what every corporation, including Sony, will try to do. The thing that's also happening at the same time here is this felt like a celebration of Sony's corner of the medium.
Yes.
In a way that, like, I don't know, like the Game Awards is super broad, and also, I mean, it's the Game Awards. Nintendo Directs are earnest, but also like I after what's going on with all the stuff in the background, like that veneer kind of sort of fades. I don't know. Like I just felt like in this presentation that Sony and the people behind it were proud of it.
Yeah.
Like it felt like this was a diverse set of games that like they figured and knew, and I think correctly so, that there'd be a couple things for everybody in here. Well, so that's I don't know. I enjoyed that. It made me feel a little bit okay about about the industry for a second.
Right.
We'll get into the reasons why we're not later in the show.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start off with the big announcement. I'm going to call it the big announcement.
Okay, yeah, that's the other thing. I think the big announcements are probably different for everyone.
That's true. So they're remaking the OG God of War.
Plural, trilogy.
Yeah,
Uno, dos,
correct.
tres.
Correct. With the original voice actor for Kratos.
Yep.
A+ move. Don't change a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, and it's in the works and coming eventually. Great. Tell us nothing more. You have announced that it is there. Those of us who are interested in this idea have begun sequestering money. Tell us when it is completed. Go forth.
And they did release that sort of new Metroidvania-esque God of War game that Ven just mentioned here.
Sons of Sparta.
Sons of Sparta. So apparently, game's pretty fun. There is a weird thing, just so everyone knows, and this will be in the show notes too if you want to research a little more. It looks as though, and says on the PlayStation Store, that it is a 2-player co-op game. You cannot play the game 2-player until you beat the game.
That is a choice that a human being made about a piece of art.
And I don't know why that was it. And maybe they'll patch it. I don't know. But like we have an article up from I believe it's a PC Gamer. Let me double check. No, I think it is Gaming Bolt. That is basically talking about that. You have to unlock the challenge mode that can be played solo or with 2-player couch co-op.
Interesting.
So, I guess it is designed to be a single-player game, and then they sort of put that in on the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like this comment. I know it's off topic. We're gonna get there, Brody, but I just really did enjoy that. I just wanted to pop that up. Mm-hmm. But no, I'm psyched for. I'm curious because the action in the original God of War games is just so good and visceral and fun. I'm curious how they will maneuver around various other things that might not play well in the year of someone's Lord 2026.
A certain face-shaking mini-game comes to mind.
Yeah, about many things. But hell, who knows what they're gonna do? I'm psyched to do this. I'm psyched that they are going to create this because while we still kick and scream to make sure that games are preserved, like in their original form, sometimes these remakes are sort of the other end of that spectrum, right? It's not the same thing, and it's not game preservation, but it is allowing essentially a rhyme of a piece of art to continue to keep going on for people that have not played it. And maybe there are folks who have been interested in playing the original God of Wars after Dad of Boy, which again, very different vibe.
Yeah, extremely different vibe, right?
Yeah.
Kratos is not the same character. Kratos and God of War, Kratos and Dad of Boy are not the same person, and that's the point.
Yeah.
Right? Which I like a lot.
So I think the God of War announcement was very, very, very fun. If I was bouncing around mine, the thing that I knew Resident Evil 9 was coming. They already have my money. I'm not, it was nice to see Leon get all weepy when he walked back into the police station. That's fine. I think that trailer might have already dropped already. The thing I was kind of hoping for there and didn't, and I don't think it's going to happen actually, is even though the PSVR and PSVR 2 versions of Village, of Resident Evil 7, and of Resident Evil 4 have been gangbusters and help sell hardware, so far there is no announcement that Resident Evil 9 will be in VR at all, which does make me sad.
Yeah.
But the thing that actually shocked me a little bit more was was honestly Silent Hill Townfall. Because it looked like a Silent Hill game, and then it's like setting it up like with like in the trailer there was like a tarp or something over a sign, and you thought it was gonna say Silent Hill, and then it was the name of another town, which I think that I want that to sort of be, I want Silent Hill to be like the vibe of it more so, and I think that this felt like hopefully a fresh feeling take. I know they just did F, which also felt fresh in its own right, and now I feel like they're taking the radio mechanic, it seems, and turning a visual element to it, which does seem very fun. So I'm looking forward to that as well. I was shocked. I was like, ooh, okay. I'm a second time in a row. I'm interested in the plot machinations and ever-changing environment of a Silent Hill game in this economy. Yeah.
My next big get was there's a new Control game. I just finished playing the main game of Control. I have DLC to crack into yet, but that's on hold for our World of Warcraft midnight leveling and preparation for that whole shenanigans. It looks really good. It looks very different. It looks, how do I say this? In my opinion, the biggest weakness of Control is the combat. It is good in some places and annoying in others, and it feels like what they did was they took the combat and went, this is the weakest part of the game. Let's fix that, and then don't mess with the way that we tell the story at all, because the story is great. The story of Control is absolutely unhinged. I like to refer to it as a donation to Sam Lake's therapy when you buy Control. It is off the walls. If you have not played Control, I encourage you to look up nothing and then play Control. It's very good. But the new Control game looks excellent, and I'm very excited for it.
A lot of different sort of, I at first I was going to call it gravity mechanics. I don't think that's it. I think it's perspective mechanics.
Yes. Down is relative.
Yeah.
Right? Because maybe it's the enemy's gate, and maybe it's the ground beneath your feet, and maybe it's the way that you're perceiving the endless Escher space that this is taking place in. But yeah.
What was another one? I have yet to play Ghosts of Yotai, but it is interesting, and I was heartened to see, even at the very least, because it means one of my favorite games of last year, Night Rain, seems like it's influencing the space a little bit. There's the Ghosts of Yotai Legends, which just seems like the Night Rain version of Ghosts of Yotai, which, since the combat there is good, felt like a natural, like, you can, like, I feel like this is the kind of game, or the kind of style of spin-off game that I like seeing, because if you're a fan of the genre, awesome. And if you're not a fan of the genre, they're still going to be doing their story games and their regular games. So like, you can just sort of like either double dip or just take the one you like. Mm-hmm. So I enjoyed seeing that. There was a lot of, Will, you called this out too. There was sort of a lot of, again, with God of War, there was a lot of nostalgia feelings in this showcase.
And I think this is, okay, so Jeff and I talked about this. This has been 20 years since the PlayStation 3. I have cast bones to dust. Right? The PS3 is 19 and change old. Technically, the 360 was the first of the gen, and then the PS3 came later. Yep. But the bones to dust. To dust. Right? And so there's a lot of nostalgia baked into a lot of the properties that they're revisiting now, I think, and it's a good year for them to focus on that nostalgia because the PlayStation 3 was so pivotal, right?
Yeah. Well, the nostalgia games that we sort of had listed was obviously the God of War trilogy, Legacy of Kain Defiance, which again, that is a IP that I have missed for a long time. I think those games overall are excellent, and I'm very happy that Defiance is sort of getting its remaster. They're doing a Dead or Alive 6 remaster before their new Dead or Alive game, which, side note, there's moments in that trailer that I'm just like, guys, maybe,
guys, don't.
Maybe. I mean, they know that element of who they're selling that game to, but there was a moment when they were showing off the improved photo mode that I was like, you dipshits. Like it was bad, but they have that as a remake. They also as Metal Gear Solid Collection Volume 2, which the big news there is that there's going to be Metal Gear Solid 4, which I believe before this has not been able to be played off the PS3.
That is my understanding as well, and I have seen messages in chat that people are very excited about that in particular. And like
a game with like 36 hours of cutscenes or something, which I've played and beat and like.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And there's some questioning because of the volume of cutscenes. It was originally 2 discs, and when they moved to the PS3, it was 1 disc. So they replaced the cutscene where they ask you to replace the disc with a thing that says, "Wait, we don't need to replace the disc. We're on the PlayStation 3." And one of the leading pieces of like fans want to know is what that cutscene is going to get replaced with on the PS5. So
yeah. So that'll be. I'm very much looking forward to that, and sort of seeing that and playing that again.
I'm actually really happy to see. Oh God, this is just like I'm just gonna like toss this one into chat. I'm really glad to see that more companies are getting the message from the Kingdom Hearts franchise that if you've splintered your entire story across multiple platforms in several decades, you will make a bunch of money if you consolidate it and package it to sell it all to your fans who want to play it, but don't want to bust out the PSP.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I think Peace Walkers is in this collection too.
Right. So like there's a really good thing there that like companies are getting the money that they want and consumers are getting a product that they really want, which is I'd like to play the whole game in one place. Unless you really wanted to play the mobile games, in which case, go watch a YouTube video.
Yeah. And then the last sort of nostalgia thing, which Will, you said you were excited for, was the Rayman 30th anniversary collection, which is kind of doing the Mortal Kombat Legacy collection and Tetris collection sort of vibe, right?
Okay. I have a very soft spot in my heart for the mascot platformer era. Right? We have like Mario, Banjo, Crash, Rayman, right? All of those.
Gex, maybe.
Yeah, we can go with that, right? And so I'm always glad to see when like those games get playable again, because I remember I don't have like any 2D platformer in my gaming milieu. I have a ton of 3D platformer because of Banjo and Mario. And so, yeah, Spyro, that's another good one. Sonic, yeah. And so getting those back, I can imagine how I would feel if the like mascot platformers that I really loved as a kid weren't accessible, and now they're accessible again. And I'm always glad for that. I think that's really good.
Yeah, and it's good. Apparently, there's going to be five different Rayman games on there, plus a unreleased one that's not. I couldn't quite tell from the trailer. Like it's a basically like a prototype that they're just sort of like including, and they're doing interviews with the teams that made it and art stuff and like a bunch of like. It is going to be a collection for people that like actually really want to deep dive into how these games are made, and as PlayStation's, I think, original platforming mascot kind of thing. I
think it predates Crash.
I think it does.
Yeah, I think Rayman's pre-Crash. Yeah, I thought that was really good. I also, I have already declared "Shut Up and Take My Money." There's gonna be DLC for Neva, and if you've played Neva, you're like, what? And I go, yeah, there's going to be DLC for Neva. So we're going to play that on stream at some point. If you haven't played Neva, go spend, what is it, like $20 and cry. Just like you are spending, I just need you to know that when you play Neva, you are spending money to cry. Just that's the point of the game. Enjoy that. Just enjoy that experience. So yeah, Neva Prologue, I'm very excited for, extremely excited for. We'll be absolutely playing it. And like, I also loved that, I don't know, this is just going back to the thing that Matt said at the beginning. I absolutely love when presentations are like, yeah, we've got this giant thing, and it's this big remake of this original AAA franchise, and oh, by the way, here's DLC for one of your favorite tiny studio indie games that made you feel things in watercolor, and they're in the same presentation and they're both given time, right? Not the same amount of time, obviously, but like, good, great, excellent.
You still need time for Leon's biceps, Will.
Yeah. I have heard things about the RE9 Leon where like, they were like, no, he's not hot enough. Make him hotter. Make him more ripped. Make his shirt tighter.
I'm just, it's really nice to see the level of thirst from the RE community.
Yeah.
Brings everyone together, you know?
Yeah.
Something that I actually went under my radar, which is interesting, I guess, because I believe it came out, I'm not quite sure, was the new Kina game, which is Scars of Cosmora. Now, that was the thing that the showcase started with. And when I started watching it, I was just like, okay. Like, I was like, cool, the third-person action adventure game or whatever. And the more I was watching it and listening to the dialogue about it, it was sort of about, like, and again, it's a sequel to Bridge of Spirits, which I believe was if not a launch title, a near launch title for the PS5. I think it was supposed to be like a bigger deal than it was, and apparently,
yes.
Like I was looking it up, it has like good, but not like rave reviews.
It's good till about halfway through, and then if you're super digging it, you keep going. But it does have like if you look at the achievement data, you can see the cliff, where lots of people are like, oh, maybe don't. It's super cute, though. I've played, like, that half of it.
Yeah.
Great game for that half.
But then what I really liked about the trailer, and again, you only see a little bit of gameplay, but the story essentially is, like, she has to go and, like, clear corruption in this land, right? Like, and that's a plot point of so much stuff. So many video games, like there's this corrupting magic or poison or something, and you have to go punch it in the face until it goes away.
Can't imagine why in 2026 there would be some kind of recurring plot and a lot of art about the corruption of like the natural world and like fighting to preserve it. I'm sure it's just a coincidence.
But then there's a moment near the end of the trailer where Kina beats a boss or something. And I urge you, if you haven't watched that trailer, you can just skip to the end. Like, you know, like skip to the last, 15 seconds. She like punches it for the last time in the face. And when it dies, it was just, I've watched it like a few times. It's the most beautiful cascade of the monster falling and like in its death throw, like a wave or a burst of energy just flows out from that central point and like nature just comes back. Mm-hmm. And it was, even in that little thing, and I'm hoping that is not doctored and that is like actual gameplay footage, like using the things that the PS5 is good at with a lot of like necessarily particle effects, but like a lot of small elements. It seems like even in Astrobot and a lot of the games, like it does do really well with a lot of small elements on screen. Like when I saw that, I was like, that is a thing that I will actively want to do and hunt for. Like I'm getting the actual in-world visual representation of what the kind of major plot point is. And I know that's not like blowing the minds of everybody, but it was just a really nice, like, oh, it felt like a holistic experience. It felt like the story of the game and the mechanics of the game and the art direction of the game all were playing in harmony in a really nice way. And oftentimes a lot of these games, these third person action games, don't like it'll have a great story, but the art direction will be okay. Or it'll look gorgeous, but like the UI is bad, like, something like along those lines. And this felt, at least, it was presented and advertised to me in a very effective way. So now a game that I was not planning on playing, I will play. It has done its job. Yep.
That's all. That's all it needs. The
first game did that too, Daft?
Yeah.
I'm wondering how like what the visual fidelity will then sort of change to.
The little Blorbos were also adorable. They're like little blobby spirit boys, and they're the best. They're the best. So there's that. One thing we agreed on entirely and wholeheartedly is that the new Star Wars racer game looks sick as hell.
Yeah, like I didn't watch like the full trailer outside of the Game Awards, which I think was mostly a teaser, and had Sebulba in it, but like. This showed off a little bit more of like the different environments, which I know there's only so many in the Star Wars video game canon. There is Dirty Planet, Ice Planet, Lava Planet, City Planet. But like, I think, I don't know, like this, it felt like the proper amount of fast. And this was the first time I saw that trailer and I wasn't mad that it wasn't called Pod Racer. So I think it's sort of slowly winning me over.
I also think that they correctly recognize that if they don't call it Pod Racer, they can include pod racers, but also other things.
Other racers, other speeders,
right?
yeah.
So, like, there's a speeder bike, right?
So, yeah, and also Survivor brings up a really good point. It's done by the folks behind Burnout, which if you have played the Burnout series, this is the right move for a Star Wars racing game to go.
Yeah. Also, there's definitely a point where they're bullying pit droids. This is,
as always.
Well, I mean, it feels like it's one of those. It's like a green M&Ms thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it doesn't have to be there, but I'm gonna look more closely at it if it's not there, because if it's there, then it means you understood.
Sure.
Right? Yeah.
Big thing for me on this one too was Castlevania's 40th anniversary with a new side-scrolling Castlevania game, Belmont's Curse. This was one that I am excited about in principle. However, I felt like it didn't. Maybe I'm too old, but it, like, all the Castlevanias, the side scrollers that I have liked have been sort of like hand-drawn sprite animation or something along those lines. This is obviously moving into sort of that 3D space that many of the side-scrolling Metroidvanias have been in for a while now. Mm-hmm. There's something about the art style that is not winning me over yet. I still will play it. I still want to check it out. But I don't know. Did anyone else feel that way, or am I the lone person screaming for 3D for 2.5D Castlevania graphics to get off my lawn?
So I think the main reason that it feels a little different is, as a mentor put out, it's nope, not that one. Why? Okay, my mouse is not in the right spot. This one. It's made by Motion Twin. So it's got a lot of Dead Cells DNA, which is weird that Dead Cells, which had Castlevania DLC because it was based on Castlevania, is now making a Castlevania game.
Yeah.
The path for that is wild. I think that is part of it, right? Because like I watched that trailer a couple times and it never really clicked for me. Because I don't particularly like Dead Cells. It's not bad. I just don't like it. And I think it gave me very much that same vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still curious about it, but I can't say that it won me over.
Yeah. So that'll be an interesting one.
Also, Janet apparently now has a sentient form.
Yeah. Hi, Janet. All right.
And then the last one for me, which is not a huge surprise for anybody, is Saros. Housemarque continues to do the good work of, I think, making what I'm hoping will be my Game of the Year 2026. I've been trying to not watch too much more about it, but I did watch this, and it does feel like there's a lot of. I think they learned a lot of quality of life things from Returnal and are implementing them here as far as the meta progression system and their sort of comeback stronger mechanic. Yeah. It seems like, so for instance, in Returnal, if you're not familiar, you can get these parasites that you pick up that give you a benefit but a detriment. And oftentimes in Returnal's minimalist UI, unless you dig in the menus, it's hard to keep track of your build. And I think that's by design. Like, I kind of like it in a certain way, but if you're really trying to grind, I find it's difficult. It feels like here, Saros's benefit detriment system is very clear and also balanced. Like, it won't let you go out of balance in one way or another, or eventually it will if you break it in a certain way. It's like has an actual like visual element to that, like when you're designing what your build is going to be. And I don't know, every time I watch it, there's sort of a new mechanic where I'm like, I see. Here is a problem that folks had with Returnal. Here is how they are fixing it while maintaining the exact frenetic gunplay and feel of nightmarish horror that game had. Yeah. It also has a hub world where you actually talk to people, which for me feels weird in this genre. Like, the thing I liked about Returnal was how alone you felt, other than talking to various previous versions of Dead You. But again, this game, we'll be playing it on stream day one when it comes out. Like, I'll dedicate the day to it. It'll be an all day thing. So I'm very excited for that.
There were a bunch of the only thing that I think I really wanted to highlight from our list of other honorable mentions and other such was Marathon.
Yeah.
So Marathon's not had a great existence in the public eye so far. It's had a bunch of complaints, nitpicks, people ragging on it for stealing art, etc., etc., etc. And it is really interesting that they're like, all right, we're going to do it. We're just going to do the thing. So
well, they can't not do the thing.
Well, they could have pushed the thing back. They could have done more marketing ahead of it. They could, but they're just firing it off. There's going to be a server slam at the end of the month, where they are essentially encouraging players to try and break it. But it also looks like it's an open beta weekend, which means that it's like they're one of their last big chances to let the game speak for itself, which I think is a very good move if they're happy with the state that the game is in, and then the game's going to launch.
I think there was something. I did like how in their sort of their lead dev there, their game director came on. They're like, we want your criticism. Like, come on, tell us what you think about it. Like, which is pretty good in these kind of live servicey type. Actually, is Marathon going to be a live servicey game, or do you buy it?
I believe it may be and it may be in the same sort of silo as Arc Raiders and Dark and Darker. Chat, that's right. That's the dungeon crawling extraction looter, right? Right. I'm not completely losing my mind. In that I believe it is a purchase once with live service elements for future ongoing.
Okay, so yeah, it looks like it's saying for at least this is an older. Oh no, about a year ago, it was going to say Marathon will have battle pass maps and that sort of thing. It will be a game you buy, but not like a $70 game you buy.
Yeah, I think Lark's got it. It's the $40 live service Sony special, right?
Yeah.
Helldivers, Concord, Arc Raiders is also $40. That seems to be about the right spot for the purchase once. You don't need to buy anything else, but if you want some cool cosmetics, here's some additional ways to earn or buy them. Kind of thing, which I do feel like is an interesting emerging bracket, price bracket or otherwise.
Well, I'm sorry, no, I'm not to harp on Night Rain, but Night Rain I feel like is a very complete experience. It's multiplayer roughly only. I know you can play it by yourself for $40, and if Night Rain keeps releasing new stuff and they're like $15 packs every 6 to 8 months, like that's the equivalent of a battle pack. Like, you know, like it's. That's the kind of thing that I like. That's the payment structure I enjoy. I don't know. I'm curious about Marathon. We're going to get into a couple games that are having trouble these days once we get off the state of play. But a lot of them are live service games or free-to-play games that are hoping to hook you in with a different payment structure that need a bunch of players to keep playing it for the games to stay alive. And Marathon obviously does fall into that category. So many high-profile versions of these things have just fallen by the wayside, and the ones that seem like they are the victors in this space seem to always be from not necessarily the largest studio in the game trying to make it. Because like, what's the last real successful one of these would be Arc Raiders, right?
Mm-hmm. It's very successful. Arc Raiders is hugely successful right now.
Yeah. I think that I think so many people started developing these games trying to get on various different trains at the same time. And I think I might have just cracked a thing. Brad, Janet, Will, Blue Sky, message us on Blue Sky if you're watching this on Nebula. Let me know what you think about this. Other than the large companies that have stumbled onto this genre of multiplayer looter shooter, extraction shooter, you know, that sort of vibe. And I'm talking, or like battle royales, like a Fortnite or PUBG, or even any of the other, like all the big names kind of ate up other smaller games that were already doing it to make it big. Even Call of Duty and you know, all that stuff, kind of those companies ate up that model and then became the large ones. And the only ones that seem to crack into public consciousness in a new IP form is from either smaller developers or things that are shadow dropped, like Apex Legends, that the company thought was going to die anyway, but then it didn't because it was really good.
Yes, I would encourage us to not look too deeply into the gaping abyss that is Apex Legends right now. Having looked at it recently, like it's
no, but I'm talking about when it came out, they shadow dropped it like it was going to be nothing, and then it became a thing.
Correct.
I don't know how much of a thing it is anymore. I'm just saying, you know. But then like. Then you look at large companies trying to build this kind of thing from the ground up and make it a tent pole, right? Make it a thing that is the giant thing. You see of your Concords and things like that, and they never quite land. And I wonder if when you're that big, you need to have every possible element of that game firing on all cylinders, when if you're younger or scrappier, or it's a mechanic that a larger company is already buying up, like the core of the game is already like is the focus. Like I think Concord died for a lot of different reasons, but like I think its art direction and a lot of its sort of the way that it was shown kind of got lost in the sauce. Like it feels like a lot of departments not fully talking to one another and not realizing that things aren't coming together as a cohesive whole.
It feels almost like there's a whole category of these that are trying too hard.
It's not trying too hard. It's
how do you do, fellow youths? No,
but you get. I'm not sort of saying this correctly. That is the problem. But how does that problem manifest? And I think that it actually is when a large company takes all of their resources and tries to smush them all together and make the Blorbos kiss to make an actual like game in this space from scratch. When it's too big and not managed well, that doesn't ever come together, because the methodology of building a AAA game in these studios might not be the same methodology that makes a cohesive multiplayer extraction looter whatever experience come together. Because we just keep seeing high profile failures on this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll cook on it. But that's kind of my gut take right now. I hope Marathon does fine.
Yeah.
I like that. Was Shadowheart the computer voice? Jennifer?
Jennifer English?
Yeah. Sounded like her anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's State of Play. I think Sony's in store for a good 2026. I think they're set up for success. I think the big thing that I like is that they're not doubling down on like one slice.
Yeah.
Right? That they're keeping it nice and broad, that we're getting a lot of stuff. And that everyone's got a little something to look forward to. Also, that John Wick game does look sick.
I hope so. I feel like
it does feel like it's a lot of cutscenes. It does feel like it's a lot of in-engine press button receive John Wick execution cutscenes.
But like, here's the thing. Look, the world of John Wick sure is shot cinematically and cool. And the action sequences, because it's done all by stunt people, like, and designed by them, are the best in the business. But when you put a John Wick movie next to the video game of it, and the video game, even though it has its sort of like chains and restraints of reality lifted, and the action doesn't look as intense or as cool as the movie, which it looks good, but it didn't have a visceral bite to it.
Yeah.
And which is I think the main core experience you get from watching a John Wick film. I hope it does great. When I was watching, I was like, huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, Swiper, hello, no swiping homework.
Okay.
Anyway.
So before we move on to our next story, this is now the part of the show where we do fake ads for things you can't buy, while Twitch chat gets real ads for things you can buy. So we're going to do that for a couple of minutes, and then we'll be back with our story on what Discord doing?
What Discord doing?
What the Discord doing?
What?
So
what are you doing?
All right, so we're gonna run through bits of ads over on Twitch. And Matt, please sell these fine people something.
Oh boy. All right, let's see. I'm gonna think of something in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey everyone. Matt from Extra Credits here. Also, Will's here too, but he's not talking yet. Don't worry, he will, but I am Matt. So, when we watch the state of play, one thing that we left out is officially what Marvel Token Fighter, whatever I forget the name of that game is adding the X-Men. So what I would like to sell to you is whenever something seems like it needs a bit of a bump in the news cycle, or you just need some hype really put into it, just throw the X-Men into it. They're doing that with the MCU. They're doing that with a bunch of animation. And I feel like if you throw Storm or Magic or Wolverine, or I think that fourth character that I'm not sure if they're actually a Marvel character or not is in there, it's just gonna bump up your numbers.
Rivals is also doing it. Rivals is adding more X-Men.
All right. Ready, Will?
As I will ever be.
Yes, Marvel Token Fighting Souls. I never can remember. Never can remember. All right, here we go.
Why could you?
Oh, and she is a real X-Men? Okay, cool.
Hi there. Will from Extra Credits here. Matt's here too, but he already talked, so it's my turn to talk now and sell you on something interesting, which is nostalgia. That's right. You are, in fact, allowed to live temporarily in the pleasant halcyon memories of games from times gone by. You can, it's okay. You can live in the nostalgia of playing, like, old games, like the OG God of War trilogy or Metal Gear Solid or whatever. Just, I hope that, like, you know it's nostalgia, right? Just know that it's nostalgia going in. Don't expect it to be something that it's not, because I do that, and I continually end up hideously disappointed.
Hey, everyone. Matt from Extra Credits, who just heard Will from Extra Credits comment on the things that Matt and Will from Extra Credits were talking about here on Extra Credits Game for Breakfast. Now, I think that Will has just told you something very effective, is that nostalgia is coming and nostalgia is nice, and that you should just remember that it exists, and you should remember that that's what you're experiencing. But what if I sold you a different concept? What if I sold you the concept of never realizing it was nostalgia? That's right. All you have to do is pretend like you're actually back there, and you don't ever have to actually engage with any part of reality ever again. That could never have any negative consequences for, say, the gaming industry or the entire country at large. Just forget everything's real.
You have to wake up, Neo. Knock, knock. This is also reminding me of when we did the wake up call at MagFest. He's stuck like this.
Nostalgia. Okay.
Okay, we return. Okay, so
I wish my extreme close-up could go faster, because I would do the Wade's World extreme close-up, but that's literally the speed it goes.
Yep.
And I tried so hard, I'll just call it out. I was stuck, and I reached for the remote. And I had it, and I was trying to feel where the actual button for the zoom was, and I couldn't find it, so that's why I started doing that, because I had it was like right here, and I was holding it, like trying to identify where the zoom was.
All right. Chat, we need to do an update on Discord from last week. So,
it sure is going great.
Last Monday, Discord announced their new "You're All Teens Again" idea. Okay, so their plan was everyone is going to be treated as a teen until they verify somehow, and that's where this gets really interesting, that you're an adult.
Sometimes it's robots. Sometimes it's vibes. Sometimes it's you scanning a government ID.
Correct.
Sometimes it's scanning the biometrics of your face. Sometimes it's stored on your device. Sometimes it's not. there's a lot of different things going on here.
Yeah. So, okay. So, let's start with something really simple. This is another company doing kind of sketchy, kind of scary things and claiming that it's to protect the children.
And we won't harp on the entirety of what we talked about last week either.
Yeah.
If you'd like the full story of this thing, you can go back and listen to the story last week, because this is kind of the next generation.
Correct.
Where essentially it came to light that one of the partners that they're going for is a company that Palantir's Peter Thiel has done investment funding into, that is going to be one of the things that is collecting the information for Discord to do certain things. Now, Discord has said that, and this was a company, I'm trying to remember that, because it's not Palantir, it's a company.
But it starts with, I think it's Persona.
Persona. Yeah. It is a company that is very heavily invested by Peter Thiel in there, or Thiel, I don't know, whatever. But the essentially it was a limited partnership to test some things that has since concluded.
When did it conclude? Moments after we found out that the public found out.
I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, right? But it's just not a great look for this kind of thing. Now, some people in chat, and both Brad and Janet, have been saying right now that like they didn't even notice that anything else had come into that Discord had been affected by this, which is entirely like, and even Discord has come out and said like, oh well, this is only going to affect so many people, blah 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 blah. But that's kind of how enshittification works.
Uh-huh.
It's not exactly the same, but it starts sort of small and it doesn't affect everyone until eventually it does. And this is just one of those things where it seems like, Will, that there's a lot of stuff in the news cycle lately where people are like, wait, something's bad? Wait, this is bad. And then many people are screaming from the sidelines, we've been telling you stuff can get bad for a few years now. Now you see it? And so my point behind this is this feels like another one of those inflection points on the Discord side of things, where it might not be affecting a large swath of the verbal people that are sort of going on with it, but just because any one of us is not individually affected by it doesn't mean that Discord's going to slow its roll on collecting all of our personal data to then do whatever it wants with it. And the fact that in the EU, when they ran the test, and again, you can go back and listen to the episode last week to hear more about it, when they're rolling out essentially the same process that they did where 70,000 pieces of user data and personal information that were not supposed to be stored were just someone was able to access them. Yeah. So when they say these things,
UK rollout, not the EU rollout. The EU rollout.
I keep doing that. God dang it.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Yeah. No, I think this is. It's just bad. It's annoying, and. I hope that the spin that they did on Persona is a sign that people bullying them is working. That's my hope. My hope is that they were not prepared for the level of backlash they would receive from the global user community, including the number of people who canceled their Nitro live on air in some cases.
I emailed them too. I'm still waiting on my ticket.
Oh,
I'm sure it's coming any day now.
The feedback site for Discord is down. It's down entirely because
perhaps there might be a short coming out hopefully later this week about this very topic.
Yeah, right. It's like
also okay. All jokes aside, Skeletor wearing a Discord mask. yada, yada, yada. All of this is coming from a place of, hey, Discord, we really like your service. We don't want you to go down a path that makes it so we are uncomfortable using your service. Please provide different venues to make it worthwhile for both parties involved, you and your users, to continue using Discord. This ain't it.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't like a call because it's an evil thing or like whatever. It's like, as a company, it's just, this is a thing that's important to a lot of people beyond the bottom line of dollars. I mean, I know you need it to keep going. That's no question. But like, there's ways to do this where you're not doing whatever it is you're doing now.
Yeah. And I'm with Daft on this. I think the other group of people that this really sucks for, the people in the trenches at Discord who are answering things and who are
because like, they have talking points. They have the jobs they need
and
to
they
protect.
and they didn't get told they didn't get prepped, they didn't get rated on any of this, right? I'm 100% sure that the brief went out on a Monday morning and a bunch of them were scrambling too. Or this your perennial reminder to be kind to customer service employees because they did not make the decision that you are upset with. Right. No. Ask them, explain to them that you are not upset with them and ask them to record and, transmit your complaint as is appropriate. But don't be. Yeah.
So fun thing, Hippie. Yep, that's entirely true. You know what I stopped using and refused to use at all like 4 years ago? Anything from Meta.
Yep.
That's that. And that's not saying that everyone can or should, but I chose to. And that's like, of course they did it. And now it's like, well, no, thank you. Also, I really like Mystics here. It's not super clear what qualifies as sensitive content that would be age gated. Surely it's naughty stuff, but like political memes, random things, and spoiler tags, video game, blood, gambling, adjacent stuff, like all of that, like nothing is put into stone. And it's funny because I imagine that, especially with the way that regulation is going with advertising, and especially with gambling, I imagine that, like we talked about it last week, like I highly doubt that gambling ads or things that have to do adjacent with gambling are going to be age gated regardless because they make too much money.
Yep. Also important note, they are, and I found this out in a, thanks to somebody hitting me up on Blue Sky about it. They have changed without notice what qualifies as content that needs to be age gated, because it used to be that any discussion of the acquisition or owning of firearms, even in a purely theoretical sense where we're talking about gun legislation in the United States, which is the thing we do on our Discord, in the politics chat, in the section set aside for that, needed to be age gated. That's been removed from the community guidelines without notification. Because I went and looked, I found the original post that said that it needed to be there, and that language appears nowhere in the current version of the community guidelines. So they've changed them once without notifying server admins, and that is another big ol' red flag to me that they've changed the guidelines without telling the people who are responsible for enforcing or understanding the guidelines. Just another note that goes with this. Yeah.
So we'll keep following it. It's funny if precedent is anything to go by Thursday, by the time the short is done that we have about Discord, there'll be all new information anyway.
Yep, that's true. So continue bullying Discord, cancel your Nitro, send them a nice, polite email. I
wouldn't say bullying. I would say exactly the other things.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Next up, hey, speaking of nostalgia and blast from the past,
That man is floating a mace.
Diablo 2 has been updated.
Yeah. Well, the remastered or resurrected, whatever.
Resurrected.
The new version. Yeah.
Has been with the Warlock, which got updated into Resurrected, Immortal, and D4 all at once. And I feel like it's worth calling out as one of the weirdest, most effective ways to make me interested in a series that's never really grasped my attention. Because I wasn't a Diablo kid growing up, right?
Yeah.
And ARPG-wise, I prefer Last Epoch to either Diablo or Path of Exile, but this is a good move. Like, props where due. This is a good and interesting move to be like, hey, we're updating everything.
Yeah, it's real fun. I have not liked the path that Diablo has been on for a while, but this is a step in the right direction, in my opinion. It got, like you said, Will, it got me. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll check out some Diablo stuff at some point. Like I just think it's very, very smart and good and nice. Whether or not the rest of the game is, that's neither here nor there. Diablo 3, like, what about me? Yeah, it's funny. I know Diablo 3 gets a lot of flack. I had so much fun with Diablo 3. I have no problem with Diablo 3. Well, some problems, but not nearly as, I didn't play 4, so that'll tell you that. And I know 4, a lot of people did like as well. But, I don't know. I really like the story. I like that they chose to do this. It's strange to me, Will. I'm wondering, Blizzard games have been on a more positive kick, at least in our eyes lately, than they usually are. We've talked about things that they're happening in Overwatch that seem to be better. We're trying to check out WoW because it seems to be better. Now this with Diablo. Again, not company company culture, air quotes, but like, we all know the problems that Blizzard has had in the past. Do we think that, like, what do we think is happening now? At least let's even step away from, like, let's talk about purely like game stuff, right?
Yeah.
Decisions in the maneuvering of their IP and games seems to be more clear and, in my opinion, better than it was 2 years ago.
It feels like they're returning to the love of the game.
And I wonder, yeah.
Like, okay,
wait.
So let's say for a moment that this only makes it into Immortal in 4, right? Let's say that Warlock gets introduced for Immortal, right? Which apparently still makes money in some places, but I don't understand it, but apparently it does. And 4, which is the flagship current iteration, right? Then it feels like, okay, that makes sense. It's a new content update for new stuff. But the love of the game thing is, hey, we realized we could backport this to the remaster of Diablo 2. So we did that for funsies.
And they balanced it in a way that makes sense in 2. Like, from all reports that I've been seeing, seems like it feels like it fits, which is very interesting.
Yeah. Like, I think that there's, like, it does feel very much like there's a fun, like a whimsy to it almost. Hey, we thought about this cool thing, so we decided to do it.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's what's returning, at least in my eyes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's good. I hope that maybe I don't know. Every time I'm like, maybe this good thing that happened will be a thing. I'm like, yeah, but what about all this other bad stuff? It's like that meme with the happy thing and the guy who's smiling, like hugging and pulling you away.
Yep.
That always feels like it with this. But we'll see how it goes.
All right. Chat. In news that everyone probably expected. No, don't stop autoplaying. Stop this. I need the data. I don't need your autoplay trailers. Thank you. All right. So this might be the last time we talk about Highguard, because this might be the last week that Highguard exists.
I downloaded it. I will play it at some point.
Okay.
Hopefully before anything bad happens.
1,200 of other people who are online right now with a 24-hour peak of 2,000. It is slipping.
I downloaded
away.
on PS5, so I didn't have to deal with the nonsense
slipping
in the BIOS.
away. Wildlight Entertainment, the creators of Highguard, have reported that they have laid off a significant portion of the team.
Yeah.
And those devs are now speaking out about their experiences having launched Highguard, and the general feeling amongst them regarding the public feedback and the general way that the Highguard launch was, we were screwed the second it showed up at the Game Awards, is the general sentiment. Because I'm guessing that for all that it looks pretty polished, I'm guessing Highguard's budget isn't that big.
I don't think it is. No, not at all.
And I think that everyone who's been ragging on it, and I think I've fallen into this a couple of times, and that's my bad, thinks that Highguard's budget is much bigger than it is, because I get the sense that this dev team was very scrappy.
Here's what this is kind of what I was hinting at when I was talking about, like, oh, when a large company does one of these things. I don't think Highguard falls into this, but I think Highguard looks the part. Highguard looks like a game that is made by a gigantic company.
Right.
And also, I think this is the other side of that coin. Look, when you're the last thing at the Game Awards, because the Game Awards have conditioned people who watch it to think that that's the biggest, most prestigious thing. And even though Jeff did give away the spot to them because he liked it, that's not normally what happens.
Correct. Right?
Like, and so I go back to, and again, you can go watch our Highguard episode of Games for Breakfast if you want more on this, but I do think that that was the first domino to fall. And I think also not focusing on your heroes in your 3 different kinds of hero shooter in your marketing was the mistake. And that feels like, and again, I am pontificating, tinfoil hatting, whatever, that feels like a mistake that is based around a place that does not have infinite budget to spend or focus time on things like that.
Yep.
I'm very sad about this. I do want to play it. This game has felt like no game, movie, TV show, book, sound, music, YouTube video is owed your attention. I feel like, and if you go back and read the IGN article, which we'll listen to show notes, the things that some of the devs are saying here, I can't help but sort of agree with. Like, at a certain point, even though, like, look, there's a world where, like, Highguard was so good that it could transcend this nonsense before it came out, right? Or it was marketed so well that it didn't matter. But a decision was made by the essentially like the negative hive mind that this game was bad, and that became its narrative, that became its story, and that it almost doesn't even matter whether it was good or bad because enough people jumped on that. And in our constant negativity retention culture, that is what folks is like. I'll even back it up. I know I'm sort of all over the place today, and I apologize for that. But like, when we were designing the thumbnail for this episode and deciding what we wanted the main story of this episode to be, oftentimes everyone knows this. I'm not saying anything that is a shock to anybody. Negativity will get more clicks than positivity. That is just the way of the internet. And it's something that we struggle with a lot here, and we struggle with, I know other creators struggle with too. And Will and I, when we were putting the show together, because we were like actually felt good about a thing in the gaming space for once, we're like, no, like, we're going to do this. We're going to talk about something that we're excited about, that we think is positive for the industry as our main story, even though we know that that will get less views than if we had put that Skeletor image of Discord up there.
Yep.
Because, like, at the end of the day, I don't want to be part of a negativity cycle that fed into something like this, like insta-failing. Yeah. And I think overall our discussion points on Highguard have been
observational, I think.
And fair. Like, yeah. I truly think its problem was its marketing, which does include the Game Awards.
Yeah.
And that has nothing to even do, like, games that are apparent, like, way better and way worse have also done fine in the past.
Yep.
So, like, it feels like that's the issue here. But please read what the devs are saying over at the IGN article in the show notes, because it's kind of like it had a clarity-inducing thing. I'll read this quote from Sobel. He said, basically, the trailer came out, it's all downhill from here. Content creators love to point out bias in folks who give positive previews after being flown out for an event. but ignore the fact that when their negative leading content gets 10 times the engagement of the positive, they've got just as much incentive to lean into a disingenuous direction, whether consciously or not.
Yeah.
And look, that comes from someone who worked on this game for 2.5 years and actually loves it. So there's obviously a little bias there, but the sentiment that they're saying is entirely true. No one on the team deserved the level of shit that they were getting from this.
Yeah, the vitriol was entirely unnecessary, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think if a game is bad or not to your taste, and those are two very different things, as a reminder, you can simply, radical concept, not engage with it.
Yeah.
Rather than doubling down. And I feel like I'm preaching all the way to the choir here, because I feel like this is not anyone here's idea of a good time. But it is one of the problems that people feel entitled to go after devs and be like, haha, I have feelings and you have to listen to them because I don't know, felt like your game was going to be the best.
Because I downloaded your free-to-play game.
Right. Yeah.
Or didn't.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, so that's sad. I hope the team I'm so sorry. I'm so sad and tired of saying yet again, hope the team is able to find work.
Yep.
Like,
and I mean, that goes back to the industry report that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, where it's like there is a brain drain happening in the industry, and the thing that happened to Highguard is a great example of why. Right? Because a talented team put a game together for several years, and now all of them are looking for jobs all at once. Or a large number of them, not all of them, but a very large number of them are looking for jobs all at once.
And I don't want to say that, like, you can't criticize or give feedback on a game that is launched. In fact, I think if this game came out in a world that didn't instantly think it was going to flop before it did, people would have played it. It would have got mid reviews. People would have sent in their needs and things. Some people even in chat right now were talking about some stuff that it needs. And eventually it might have found a state of homeostasis. Now that's looking less and less likely.
I also think a season 0 was the move, and they didn't do it. And I think that's the other. I think there was some amount of desire to launch done. And I think right now, understanding that no live service game is going to launch done, or very few are going to launch done, and that most of them need a season 0 to shake out bugs and balance problems is like a real thing. So. Okay.
Moving on to a brand new story that has nothing to do with this story. Crap.
Right. So the 2XKO team has also experienced a bunch of layoffs several months after their launch. The comment from producer Tom Cannon is that the game, quote, hasn't reached the level needed to support a team of this size long term, end quote. Which is real disappointing, because I feel like
I actually, you know what, Lark just said this, and it actually, I want to sort of continue off it. Dang, they didn't blow the guild genre wide open the first month. Time to shut it down. And they're not shutting down 2XKO, but they're minimizing the team. The thing that I don't know Riot's financials. I have no idea what other pots
league
they got
money.
going. Yeah, but like I know they have league money, right? But like who knows what other like 9 other things they're developing, right? So like I'm not their CFO. I have no idea. Yeah. But like, wouldn't it be wild if I was though?
As a prank.
As a treat. But
CFO, right? For fun.
But like that's kind of interesting. Like a game that has had such a long like they have league money. They could like keep doing this. Like they've made the highway, and now they're like, maybe we just like don't drive on it because like other people aren't driving on it. So like, maybe is the highway bad? I don't know what's wrong with the highway. Like, or you just keep going because you Riot are in a financially possible position to keep supporting the thing you made. Like, the reason why Deadlock can work is because Steam has infinite money.
Yep.
The reason why Epic Store can keep throwing free games at you to try to get you to shop there is because they have Fortnite money. Like, I just feel like, look, I think 2XKO, came from a small team to start that had an idea, and then they were really like hyped about it, and then that ramped up, and then they made it like a full release. But like, just commit. Like, this is not like, just if you want to get in the fighting game genre, then like get in the fighting game genre. So I'm pissed about this. I'm sad for the devs of this as well. Because it feels like now the story is your game is dying.
Yep.
When you could have financially supported it until it found a moment of homeostasis, until you could get it into some larger tournaments, until you could get the fighting game community to really latch on, or find a new audience that aren't even into fighting games that love your game.
What?
Because this was the game that I think even before, and we're going to be releasing an episode on MOBAs that Jeff and Will crafted, that is coming out shortly about like why I bounce off MOBAs. I love the world of League. I've just started Arcane. Finally, I've started it. And it's a surprise. Don't need to tell you. It's a delight. But this was sort of my in on like wanting to know who these characters were.
Yeah.
And now who knows how long it'll be around.
Yep.
So
it's really funny too, because I just looked up some numbers for Riftbound, their new card game.
Yeah.
Because, you know, why would you take on something small like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or Tekken when you could take on something, you know, reasonably sized like Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, and they're doing it. Like,
it's really good.
Demand for Riftbound cards is high, and the market price for them is really high. Like,
it's good.
I'm checking the secondary market. It's a very good game. And the startup and continuity costs for like in non-refundables, in not human time, right, for a card game is so high because you have to produce all of the product and get it out to people, and then like printing costs and everything else. It's so much money to do the thing that they're doing with Riftbound, and it just boggles my mind that they're like, yeah, we'll take a shot at Riftbound, but we won't for 2XKO. And that just baffles me completely.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, Grant take. Yep. God, remember when that first dropped? It was not great.
Yep.
So hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully I don't know. I just want more fighting games, man. And this one seemed good. It seemed like a good entry point to get people in. And I mean, I'm sure. I don't know. Actually, who amongst chat plays a lot of League or is engaged in a lot of Riot's sort of is in your algorithm? I'm curious how much Riot has been pushing this. Like, have there been advertisements for X2KO like in League? Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Even like because that seems like a very natural. I don't know how many ads are in League in general.
I mean, they've got plenty of space to advertise to you because they've got a 2-layer client system. There's the launcher, and then there's the actual client where you play the game, and those are two different things.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are ads for 2XKO on Twitch. Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just reading through it. A lot of Twitch ads.
Yeah. Nothing much.
I've heard the name X2KO before, didn't realize what it was. Yeah. Also.
Name sucks. Name's real bad.
Like, you couldn't call it, like...
Even Legends of Runeterra had a better name, or Riftbound, or like...
Yeah, Riftbound makes sense because it harkens to something in League, but it's not League. Chat, Brad and Janet, and message us on Blue Sky if you're watching this on Nebula. What's a better name for the League of Legends fighting game?
And 2XKO.
Then, yeah, because, and no, not League of Legends the fighting.
Yeah. All right. Well,
League of Fighters, Legends be fighting.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I should have known. I should have known better.
Yeah, I don't know why you expected real answers here.
I like Artemis though. Literally anything.
Yep. Project L would have been better. Yep.
Project L.
Project L also has throwback in the fighting game community to Project M, which was a Smash offshoot that got shut down by Nintendo because of course it did.
There is something here though, Doride.
Yeah. Runeterra Rumble, I like.
Yeah.
Legend of Leagues. 4XKO, basically.
But yeah, that is definitely better than better than.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh, wait, so actually, Dad Panda, you like the name 2XKO. I don't mind the sound of it, but it did take me a while to like get where the like I kept saying X2KO for some reason, but maybe that's just my backwards brain. It doesn't scream to me League of Legends.
Yeah.
That's my like, and if you're leveraging your IP and your characters who have been beloved across a game and now a very successful Netflix series, that's what it is. League of Legends EX plus Alpha Extreme Black Betty Bam a Lamb. Whoa. I think that's probably the way to go.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to keep us moving because we got a couple more stories and this next one requires some explaining. So Hasbro had an earnings call. And Hasbro earning calls are always very interesting because Hasbro earning calls very quickly turn into, so we're down 4% in everything that we make except for Magic the Gathering, so let's talk about Magic the Gathering very quickly. Hasbro, in general, not doing so hot. Magic, doing great. Hasbro, so on that note, the Avatar set that came out at the end of 2025 is the third best-selling set ever behind only Final Fantasy and Lord of the Rings. So, and I think the thing that all three of those have in common is that they're Universes Beyond sets where the devs actually care a whole awful lot about the property. Again, we've talked about the struggles of the Spider-Man set a bit, but the community response and the design response to both of those sets was very good, or to all three of those sets was very good, Orcish Spellmaster and the One Ring aside. So that's one note. The other note is that Hasbro announced that they are going to be teaming up with Warner Brothers Entertainment to release a new line of Harry Potter stuff. And before the call was over, I cannot stress this enough. This was before they finished the investor call. The Magic community was very upset, extremely upset, super duper upset. So if you haven't played a lot of Magic, or you are unfamiliar with the Magic community, the Magic community is very gay. It's extremely gay. The Magic community is also specifically very trans. There are a lot of trans content designers who work on Magic the Gathering. There are a lot of trans Magic content creators. One of the biggest Magic the Gathering YouTube channels, Southern Community College, just ran his annual fundraiser where the Magic community, because a YouTuber told them to, raised just shy of $600,000 in a weekend for Trans Lifeline. The community is very gay and very trans, and very much as a result does not like Harry Potter. Really doesn't. I cannot stress enough how big of a problem this created. To the extent that in the middle of this earnings call, the Wizard community team and my salute to whoever was running the Wizard Community Team Reddit account, had to post a statement that said, we have a magical school in Magic the Gathering. It's Strixhaven. We have no plans to visit any other magical schools in the foreseeable future. Period.
Very smart message.
Very good message. Very excellent message. Now, and this is increased because Secrets of Strixhaven is coming up this year. We're already receiving some previews for it. The preview season, by the way, is a complete mess.
What? Are all of the different IPs that are talking on over each other and having all of the different, I guess I'd say date confirmations and contractually obligated release previews really messing up what everyone's information gathering might be?
It's even worse than that, Matt.
Oh.
They accidentally bundled Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle promos in some number of Lorwyn Eclipsed pre-release kits. And because enough of the promos were in the wild, they nuked their own Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles preview season by releasing the entire card gallery early because they'd accidentally leaked their own cards. So the whole preview season is a mess, even against the normal messy standards of a preview season. But Strixhaven has already had cards coming out, and so they do have a pretty clean redirect to, no, we do not do that here. We have our own very gay, very weird, very excellent wizard school. Do not worry about it. We're not going to Hogwarts. But I do think that for all that there's been a lot of discussion about like how much is too much on Universes Beyond, right? People have sort of grumbled about going to places that they might not. Like, we're going back to the weird and wild, wonderful planeswalking existence of New York City. Right? Like, we could go to the magic equivalent of Valhalla, or we could go to New York. We could go to a plane that is dripped in living oil that corrupts your soul. Or we could take a bus to Manhattan. Like, there are people who are not a fan of the way that Universes Beyond is being handled and the amount of it. None of that, and I cannot stress none of that, is in the same universe as the immediate level of vitriol that was directed at the possibility that Wizards would ever do this. Like, people were like, yeah, if they do this, I'm out. Like, I'm done. I'm like hard, like out.
Yeah. So, and I think there's something interesting too. Not that there hasn't always been some minor competitors in the TCG sort of game. Like you got Pokemon, you got Yu-Gi-Oh, you got now Riftbound. Like there's enough cardboard competitors out there where if a event like this occurred and the community said deuces, all it would like there's places to go. And would it be sad and would a lot of people be upset and would it be awful? Yep. But there's places to get your fix.
Correct. And Riot would absolutely love that.
Riot would love nothing more than
Riot would love nothing
Hasbro
more.
to greenlight a Harry Potter magic set.
Right, for real. But it
Side note, I love this graphic. This would have been a wonderful negative graphic to have as a thumbnail, but I didn't want to do it.
Yeah. I am very much looking forward to Strixhaven, mostly because my boy Quintorius returns. Quintorius is amazing and has a cool story and is a formerly expelled elephant student who now is a lore master and wizard of great power, whose story's been told through magic cards.
Junior Computer Virus brings up too, I always forget Lorcana, but Lorcana's a bit of a beast in its own right. So like, yeah, it's just because it's funny. I just don't engage with that, like with the Disney sort of IP in that way. So I just always forget, but I do know that it's a beast.
Yep. Okay, cool. Great. Awesome. Excellent. Onward to, interesting. We're going to strike F because I think we both missed it and we're short on time.
Yep. Makes sense.
So Ubisoft is on strike. And when we say Ubisoft, we don't mean like one of the Ubisofts, like
subsidiaries,
satellite offices,
Santa Monica,
Montreal. No. Paris. Ubisoft Paris, the home office, had workers out in the street striking. Now, to be totally fair to this story, striking is like a hobby in Paris, to the best of my ability to discern as an American. So my salutes to you. Go for it. But it is very interesting that this is not like out somewhere else where it's easy to ignore. This is, hey, the C-suite of Ubisoft is here trying to work, and there are people literally dancing in the rain outside the office striking.
There are people singing the song of Angry Men. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, something like that. The statement by the Solidaires Informationique Union rep was, at this stage, it seems clear to us that Yves Guillemot has no knowledge or understanding of his company or its employees. The company is continuing its cost reduction and layoff plans. Our teams are already working under pressure, often understaffed. After several years without pay rises or very small increases, we understand that once again, employees will not receive a raise this year. That is the fastest way to get all of your employees in the street. Well done, Ubisoft C-suite. You done goofed again. Salutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So this is spreading. My understanding is that this is spreading from the Paris office to all of the satellite branches, which means that Ubisoft is in for a nice, long, productive round of collective bargaining with their unionized workforce.
Who bought 10% of it a while ago? Oh, Tencent, right? No.
Yeah, I wanted to say Tencent, but man, there's been so many X bought 10% of Y stories that I didn't want to leap there.
Anyway,
yeah,
we will continue talking about it as long as they continue striking about it.
Yep, good job. Up the unions.
Yep.
On a sadder, more somber note,
we
thought it would be remiss of us not to mention the passing of Hideki Sato, who was the designer of the Dreamcast, among other many fine...
Down to the Master System, I believe.
Yeah.
I could be mistaken there. But has passed away at 77. I mean, you could not argue against him being the architect. I believe he was Sega, president of Sega at a certain point. Master System, Genesis, Mega Drive, Saturn, and Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Were all under his purview. And
a huge amount of the industry that has been influenced by this man's work.
Yeah. And look, there's in an increasingly volatile world that I'm obviously very upset with on a daily basis. I think something I've been trying to do on my personal end of things is start thinking more about the people in the background that have made various things I found important in my life possible.
Yeah.
This man is one of those people. I had the Genesis, and the Dreamcast, I think, is the system that I still hold the most fondness for. It's just weird enough. And I don't know, it's, you think about how much influence someone like this has on not only their own products, but like the industry and the consumer base. And it is vast and important. And I think he did overall good work. And sad when this stuff happens.
Yep.
But
very much agreed.
Yeah. Very thankful for what he did for the industry. So.
Yeah. All right. Shall we move on to a completely, totally different story to end our show on?
Yes, please.
Just a little bit of dessert. Okay, so there's like several components to this, right?
Total whiplash.
Right. It's complete whiplash. All right, so there's several components to this. The first component is there's a Helldivers movie coming out. It's going to be out in 2027 currently.
Yep.
Okay, great. Awesome. The second part of this is that Jason Momoa is going to be in the Helldivers movie. Okay. I'm sure you've already begun filming, but to the Helldivers production team.
I don't know if they've started filming.
It's fair. It's fair. All right. If you haven't, I beg you with every fiber of my being, don't make Jason Momoa shave. You did it for Dune and it was a bad move. Don't do it. Just let him keep the beard. The beard is great. Just let him. Just don't make Jason Momoa shave for Helldivers. Thank you.
Oh, Bane, this would be so good, but it won't happen, but it'd be so good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I mean, look, it makes sense. I'm not mad at it. I think it's kind of fun. He's the exact kind of energy you want in Helldivers.
Right, which is completely unhinged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be so stupid.
Yeah, no, I think this is. But like, what else do we expect of a Helldivers movie?
No, exactly. I'm not looking for deep-seated drama.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I'm not looking for Sarat.
Right. No. Yeah. This is gonna be a wild ride, and I'm looking forward to it only because it's gonna be so incredibly stupid. I will not go see this in theaters. Probably. I will wait until it is.
What?
I will wait until it is on streaming.
Come on. You gotta support Super Earth, Will.
Do I though?
I mean, contractually.
Do I though?
You did at the beginning of when you played Helldivers 2. They make you sign a big old contract. You can watch a legal video about it. And so you are contractually obligated.
Okay. Kentucky asked, great question. Are we going to need to deal with people who don't get that it's parody? My hope is that the movie will turn it up enough. Although now, as I say those words, I am aware that there are people who don't get that Starship Troopers is parody.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
and I think,
probably. Yes.
Also, Copper Chef, what about Wuthering Heights? Well, I bet you now that we're thinking about it, we'll go back to the beginning of the episode. I would say that perhaps the best mechanical adaptation of Wuthering Heights to video games would be a Helldivers 2 mod. Just Heathcliff running around.
That's true. You know, you can watch that legal video on Nebula.
The streaming service made by creators for creators. It's so funny.
Loosely sponsored, kind of sponsored. You might be watching this on Nebula, which is a kind of sponsorship in and of itself.
No, I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, Nebula definitely does sponsorships. This show is not one of them. Yeah. Nebula's just great.
That's true. That's true.
I hope you're watching this on Nebula too. Message us on Blue Sky if you're watching us on Nebula. Even if you don't have anything to say about these stories, just to say hi. That'd be nice.
Just to say hi. Agreed.
And give us, actually, this is sort of a transition as we sort of close up the show. Please message us, whether you're watching this on Nebula, or Twitch, or YouTube, on any stories you hear about over the course of the week, so that we can add them to our list of things to possibly talk about.
Yep.
Because that would be incredibly helpful. We're always looking for stories that people are interested in. And if you want to hear your two uncle, dad, grandpa folks on the internet talk about whatever story is important to you, that's the fastest way to go about it.
Yeah. Also, Matt.
Oh, yeah.
I desire a parody.
Of what?
I desire a Warhammer 40K parody of Wuthering Heights.
Oh. Featuring
an all-orc cast. Call that Wuthering Heights. Thank you so much for coming.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Everyone, I need you to give Will your finest. Everyone, this is what we're doing right now. I don't care if this is the end of the show. We'll do the real part at the end. Here's what we're going to do. On the count of 3, we are all at home in front of our monitors, whether you are watching this live or not. Give Will 5 seconds of golf clap for his amazing pun. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Excellent, Will. Excellent. I hope you felt that reverberate through the ether of the internet.
It was very important to me. Thank you.
We are getting a lot of claps in chat too, which is kind of nice. We got some claps there. We got some claps here. We got some claps there. We got this clap. We got that clap. We got golf claps. We got more of this. High and by. Well, that's not a clap, but I'll take it. We got more waves that are claps. We got all these claps. We clapped back.
Yeah, thanks.
But this has been Games for Breakfast. Thank you so much for watching. Will, what do you got going on right after this over on Twitch?
The rest of this week, we're leveling in WoW. I'm hoping to reach level 70 today so I can begin the War Within on Wednesday. We're heading towards midnight. Blupo, the mist...
You're 5 minutes to midnight.
Yeah. Yes. My monk healer is making progress. We're doing some dungeons today because folks are off work, so I can get the crew together to do some dungeons. We're going to be working on that, and we're going to be talking about the experience. So if you like World of Warcraft or have never seen World of Warcraft played, come hang out. We're talking a lot about the design, what works, what doesn't, how the game is saddled for better or worse with 20 years of history. And it's a very interesting time, and I'm really enjoying it. So please come along and hang out.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, that only leaves the thing we do at the end of every one of these episodes, which is first, I'm going to add something to this, Will. If you enjoyed Games for Breakfast and you made it this far, please do us the wonderful favor of telling people that you know to come watch it either live or the VOD. That is the best way you can possibly help us make more of this show. We love doing it, and we'd love to get the audience to keep on growing in a very natural and sort of, I guess, sustainable way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you like it, chances are your friends will like it. And if you tell your friends that you like it and that they should come hang out, they just might do that. So we'd very much appreciate that. And as always, we will end the show the same way we do every time. Again, if you're new here, this is because we want to foster a sense of community and want to make sure that you understand there's something we can do together, not just golf clap for Will, as we go into the week and deal with all of the nonsense we have to do to get back to playing video games. So this week, same as always. So just as you know, today is my mother's birthday. So we're going to sing her happy birthday like we always do at the end of the show. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear. You could say Matt's mom, but my mom. Happy birthday to you. That's my candle Cerebus.